Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am from the state of Nevada, where 85% of our state is held by the federal government, which leaves challenges out there in taking care of the responsibilities that seem to be dumped on the states to take care of these responsibilities. Right now, all 17 counties are in a extreme drought in our state, which is one of the most arid places anywhere in the nation. So on top of that, here we are, a drought on top of a place that's drought-ridden. But with that, we have one of the most beautiful places in the world, along with California, the Lake Tahoe Basin, which is a national treasure, I believe. I think at no time in recent memory has anything like this happened. I'd like to talk to you, Mr. Brown, about the Angora fire. Kind of a little different connection here. With that Angora fire, you stated yourself, it could have been far worse if the winds would have been right, bigger challenge. But is there a possibility this drought has actually benefited us a little bit to keep maybe some of those mudslides and those major runoffs from happening over the last 7-8 years that might have changed the outcome of our water?
Yes and no. We currently just are finishing up the Washington fire, which is 17,000 acres just beyond the south end of Lake Tahoe, Markleyville area. With the current weather pattern we've been experiencing the last week, we've had numerous thunderstorms that have come through, creating quite the runoff issue just from that current fire itself. Yes, without the rain, the snow, we haven't had the runoff that we expected over the last 4 years, driving that into our streams, which the tributaries will eventually end up in Lake Tahoe. But when we get back to our normal weather pattern, hopefully we do, we're going to see the moisture that we have in past years. Any catastrophic fire is going to contribute to the runoff that takes place.
So you would say that the Tahoe Basin is basically a ticking time bomb?
Correct.
With that being said, Ms. Weldon, right in the Tahoe Basin, about 80% of the land is held by the federal government. The states have come together, California and Nevada, and they're going to spend about $300 million over the next 10 years trying to help be part of the solution. Do you think the federal government's doing its part to help maintain the amount of real estate that they own in comparison, or are we lacking here a little bit?
Thank you, Congressman Hardy. We are working as closely as we can with the resources that we currently have to match up and meet the objectives that we've all developed together.
Okay, I guess I'm asking the question from your standpoint, to be able to manage, are we as a Congress doing our part to help you do your part? Be direct and straightforward.
Yes, and I'll just refer to my testimony, which really describes the opportunity that we have if we get a fix for our current fire funding problem that would free up additional resources for us to invest in those priority places where we're trying to achieve these goals, such as what's occurring in the Tahoe Basin.
The Tahoe Basin is about a $5 billion economy to the states. Are we doing our part to, or what are you doing to make sure that we, as a federal government side, to make sure that we continue to enhance that environment in that area?
A big part of that really surrounds our ability to sustain that natural environment with an eye to the direct value of taking care of Lake Tahoe to the billions of dollars that come from folks who want to go there for recreational experiences, for wonderful experiences on our national forest. So our ability to care for that today and to the future is going to be key for the economy, but also for this national treasure that we have in the Tahoe Basin.
Mr. Brown, I want to run out of time. One other last question. I want to run back to you again on the potential of a major wildfire and mudslides or other. Ash is typically acidic in nature, which is dangerous to water, dangerous even to plants if it's too much. Can't survive. In the Mount Charleston fire that just happened a couple of years ago, that's just west of Las Vegas, about 40 miles. There's only about 300 homes in that area, but with one rainstorm, we lost a number of homes, lost some lives, and that just due to that lunar scape that you talk about. How much devastation do you think, in your opinion, could happen if we get this ticking time bomb going before we get control?
I totally agree with what you said about the catastrophic what our biggest threats are. In Tahoe, we look at catastrophic incidents as wildland fire, earthquake, and then, believe it or not, a tsunami or a seiche from a shift in the water underneath that we could. And then the other potential one is flooding and runoff and slides. And with the Tahoe Basin being as steep as it is, being nothing but a bathtub at the bottom, if we are to lose that stabilized soil or the stabilization of our vegetation around those areas, around our communities from a catastrophic fire, and then have an atmospheric river, which is a lot of rain, a lot of moisture coming our way, it could definitely cause and create issues with our communities, just as you mentioned happened on the Carpenter fire there at Mount Charleston.